Jai Shri Krishna, Jai Jalaram. I wanted to start by one important message. My mother told me that never speak after a child, never speak after a politician, and never speak after an inspirational religious leader. So I'm breaking all conventions today. So what you're going to hear now is not going to be anything as elegant or as inspirational as what you heard so far. Okay, so this is going to be, we're going to go down a base a little bit. But from all trustees of the temple, it's a deep honor to be here today to join you in this celebration, the 25th celebration of the Jalaram temple. I remember coming here on the first year. I was much younger then, and it's fantastic to see how well it's grown over the last 25 years, and the service it provides to the community of Leicester. And as you say, Seva has been mentioned several times today, and the Seva that the people who visit this temple provide to the community. A few years ago, when you opened the community center across the way, I remember coming and joining you for that occasion, and I think the occasion today to open the organ donation office is another important contribution that this temple makes. Lord Gadia mentioned the many, many things that the temple has done over the last 25 years in providing this Seva to the community. I want to just mention the support that you provided to the health system in Leicester. The center has provided much needed support to the health system in Leicester, particularly the hospitals and the heart center at Glenfield, and we are enormously grateful for that contribution that you made to the work we do in the NHS. The temple is not only something for the people of Leicester. I have lots of friends and relatives who live in other parts of the country, and as they come down Narborough Road, the thing they always mention to me is that they see the temple and the sign, and the welcome that it seems to provide. They feel they're at home when they come into Leicester, and I know this is often the first place that they stop when they come to Leicester before they come and visit their families. So the temple is really something that's become special, not only for the people of Leicester, but a lot of other people who live around the country and who come to Leicester. Lord Gadia mentioned the pandemic and the impact it's had on the health service over the last year. I'm not going to spend a lot of time over this. The only message I wanted to give people, and I still worry about this, is that we saw a reluctance of people to go to hospitals when the pandemic hit. And this has had a toll. We worry about the number of deaths that have happened as a consequence of the pandemic, and that's obviously extremely distressing. But the thing, as a heart specialist, the thing that worried me most, and what the British Heart Foundation have emphasized, is the reluctance of people when they seemed like they were having a heart attack to still go into hospital. In the first few months after the pandemic started, that has cost us lots of lives. People have been worried about it, and I still hear every day. I still see family, I still see friends who are worried when you say you need to go to hospital. I'm not really quite keen to go to the hospital at the moment. Hospitals are safe in this situation, and I would really recommend that if you're having symptoms that suggest a heart attack, you do not stop and think about whether you should go to hospital. Go to hospital; it'll save lives. Thank you. In the last year, the BHF have estimated about 5,000 people have needlessly lost lives as a consequence of this reluctance to go to hospital. So that's a personal plea from me to you. The main reason we are here, important reason, of course, is about organ donation, and both Lord Gadia and you have spoken very elegantly about why people should be donating, so I won't cover that bit. But I just wanted to reflect on where we are with organ donation and the importance of transplantation. I'm sure this will also be covered by the next speaker. I started medical school 50 plus years ago now. And when I was a student, the first heart transplant happened 50 years ago, roughly. So Bernard, as you know, many of you will have heard of the story of Christian Bernard and the first heart transplant 50 years ago, just over 50 years ago. And when I was a junior doctor, I worked at the Hammersmith Hospital in London, where the early bone marrow transplants were being done for leukemias, for blood cancers. And I remember the challenges that people faced at the time about rejection of the organ, other complications from infection risk from that. And all of that, research, as was mentioned earlier, has gone a long way. In the last 50 years, we've come a long way towards making heart and other transplants safer. They've almost become routine in the way we would do them now. And obviously, as all of you know, they're life-giving for people who desperately need them. So the research and development in science has made them really much, much more safer for people who receive them. So I think there's an imperative, therefore, for us to try and make sure that those who need them get them as a consequence. Your organs will not be wasted if you donate them, because the science has advanced so much that they will be life-saving. So I urge you, as the organ donation office here, to support this. I mean, at the moment, because I am the medical director of BHF, I keep a close eye on the number of people who are on heart transplant lists. I mean, heart transplants are not necessarily, heart failure, which is the reason people have heart transplants, about a million people in the UK suffer with heart failure. Not all of them need transplants, but those of them who need them, they are really desperate because they will lose their lives in the next few months if they don't receive it. And currently we have about 350 people at any one time on a heart transplant register. These are people often in hospitals, people whose lives are really very poor, and without a transplant, they will not survive for very long. And last year, only about 170 or 180 transplants were done, heart transplants were done, which is, compared to 5 years ago, is gone down by 10 or so %. So there's a real need, and again, I think COVID has exposed this for us, that there's a real need for people to come forward to give transplants. And in our community in particular, there are, of course, challenges. You need to match hearts with the right people. And I think it's important that we give people who need the heart transplant the best opportunity for heart and other organs to be matched properly. And I know that there are often issues related to ethnicity and matching of heart and other organs that we need to really deal with. So it's important that our community steps up. The recent bill around making it an opt-out situation is, I think, an important development. The BHF championed that and wanted to see this happen. But that doesn't solve the problem for us. What solves the problems for us is you having a discussion with your families. You having a family discussion early on. And this is what we don't do. Somebody dies, there's a real problem at the time. I mean, if somebody dies in my family and I have not had this discussion in advance, it's very difficult to make those decisions at this moment when you are grieving the loss of your family member. So my urge to you, and the point that I wanted to disseminate, is that it's important that families have this discussion. Ultimately, it's a choice. Ultimately, it's a family choice. But if you've had that discussion in advance so that you know what your children want from this, you know what your siblings want from this, then that question, and when the doctor approaches you about heart transplantation or organ donation as a possibility, you will have had the wishes of your family member very clearly known to you. And then that decision becomes much more easier. So it's not the bill, it's not a legal situation that will improve the situation. It is the discussion that all of you should have with your families at a stage. When you can do it in a much more informed way, you can do it in a way that means that people's wishes are respected. And that's what I would urge. What the message to go out from today is about having that discussion early within the family. I know we are short of time. I could go on a lot longer, but I won't. And I just wanted to say thank you again, Pramod and the trustees of the Jalaram Temple. Deep honor to be here today. As many people have said, 25 years have gone by quite quickly. The temple has developed into a magnificent building as well as a place of seva, and I wish you the best for the next 25 years. Thank you very much, everybody. I'm a bit too young for this, I think. That's why I don't vibration.
जलियाण मंगलम वीरबाई मात मंगलम जलियाण मंगलम वीरबाई मात मंगलम श्री हरि मंगलम मंगलम धाम वीरपुर मंगलम जलियाण मंगलम वीरबाई मात मंगलम जलियाण मंगलम वीरबाई मात मंगलम श्री हरि मंगलम रघुनाथ मंगलम श्री हरि मंगलम रघुनाथ मंगलम धाम वीरपुर मंगलम श्री एकटेक सत्य निवाधारी मंगलम श्री सदा व्रतधारी अवतारी मंगलम श्री एकटेक सत्य निवाधारी मंगलम श्री सदा व्रतधारी अवतारी मंगलम जलियाण मंगलम वीरबाई मात मंगलम जलियाण मंगलम वीरबाई मात मंगलम श्री हरि मंगलम रघुनाथ मंगलम श्री हरि मंगलम रघुनाथ मंगलम धाम वीरपुर मंगलम धाम वीरपुर मंगलम श्री पूरण पद अधिकारी